In 2013, two Florida boat owners filed a class action lawsuit alleging that Yamaha Motor Corporation sold tens of thousands of outboard motors with a hidden manufacturing defect that destroys the engine after 500 to 700 hours of use. The engines retailed for between $16,000 and $30,000 depending on horsepower. The repair bills ran between $3,000 and $20,000 per engine. The owners discovered the problem only after the 3-year warranty had quietly expired. Yamaha never issued a recall on the affected engines, never published a technical service bulletin acknowledging the defect, and never sent notification letters to registered owners advising them of the corrosion risk. The first-generation F-Series 4-stroke outboards manufactured between 2000 and 2005 carried a latent engineering failure that the company quietly fixed on later models without disclosing the original problem to existing owners. Owners of the F225 in particular are still discovering the corrosion problem at the rate of multiple reports per week through 2025, 25 years after the first affected engines left the factory. The story of what Yamaha knew, what Yamaha did about it, and what current owners can do now is the story the company has spent over a decade hoping you would never find. The two Florida boat owners named in the original 2013 class action were Clifton Mitchell and Keith Johnson. Both purchased their boats from a dealership in Pensacola, Florida. Both discovered the corrosion problem after approximately 650 hours of recreational use. Mitchell paid approximately $7,000 to repair the corroded exhaust on his Yamaha F225. Johnson paid approximately $3,800 for the same repair on his engine. Both motors had passed the 3-year warranty period months before the failure was diagnosed, which meant Yamaha had no obligation to cover the work. They paid out of pocket. The damage spread far beyond those two original plaintiffs. Charles Pensinger of Rowley, Massachusetts bought his Yamaha first-generation 4-stroke new in September 2010. By March 2013, he had read internet discussions about the defect, inspected his own motor, and found the corrosion already developing. The repair cost him $3,908. Steve Odegan of San Marcos, California faced a worse situation entirely. He owned two F225 engines, one from 2004 and one from 2006. Both maintained with extended warranties in place. The corrosion was discovered during a 2012 sea trial when one of the engines began smoking. The combined repair estimate for both engines came to $20,000. Odegan chose to spend $31,300 on two new F225 outboards rather than repair the corroded units. His total financial exposure exceeded $40,000 when the lost value of the corroded engines is included. The named class representative was George Williams, a Seattle resident who used his F225 for only 650 hours between September 2003 and November 2011, before the corrosion caused an oil leak. His repair invoice totaled $3,011. Williams led the case filing in the United States District Court for the Central District of California under case number 213CV05066. The law firm Reich and Binstock of Houston handled the prosecution. Attorney Deborah Brewer Hayes, who led the case, reported during the proceedings that her firm received 8 to 10 calls per week from owners experiencing the same defect. The repair pattern observed in commercial marine shops across the United States shows the same hour ranges over and over. A 2003 F225 with 936 hours had the corrosion fully developed by the time it reached the dealer. The same problem appeared on a 2004 F225 with only 425 hours. Two 2006 F225 engines with just under 300 hours each developed early-stage corrosion that a dealer found incidentally while replacing water pumps. Yamaha contributed $1,000 per engine toward the parts on that repair, leaving the owner with $5,000 in labor charges he paid out of pocket. The hour counts on the affected engines run consistently between 300 and 950 hours across thousands of documented cases, which is roughly 1/3 to 1/2 the service life Yamaha publicly advertises for the same engines. The mechanical reality behind these repair bills is specific and traceable. The defect is in the aluminum exhaust passages inside the midsection of the motor, where hot exhaust gases pass through the engine on their way out the propeller hub. Yamaha coated those aluminum passages with a protective layer that was supposed to prevent the metal from corroding under prolonged heat exposure. The coating failed. On engines manufactured between 2000 and 2005, the protective layer broke down faster than the engine itself was designed to last, allowing exhaust gases to attack the underlying aluminum and burn through the casting walls. The corrosion is hidden from view because the dry exhaust is internal to the engine. A boat owner cannot see the failure happening from outside the cowling. The first warning sign is usually a loss of horsepower at full throttle. Smoke from the power head follows. Oil eventually mixes into the cooling water and the engine seizes. The specific Yamaha models affected include the F225 across all 2000 to 2005 model years, the F250 introduced in 2003, and several other F-Series variants in selected production runs. The F225 was the most common engine in the lineup at the time, which is why most of the documented failures involved that specific model. The defect was traced to a supplier providing Yamaha with the coated exhaust components. Yamaha changed the coating process and switched suppliers around 2005, which corrected the problem on subsequent production runs. Engines built after the supplier change do not have the corrosion issue, but Yamaha did not retrofit the engines already in customer hands. That decision is the central dispute in everything that followed. The Yamaha internal repair kit that fixes the defect costs between $600 and $1,200 in parts, plus 6 to 7 hours of skilled labor that runs another $1,500 to $3,000 at most marine shops. The total repair bill on an engine outside warranty typically falls between $3,000 and $7,000. Engines that have suffered powerhead damage from advanced corrosion require complete powerhead replacement, which pushes the repair cost into the $10,000 to $15,000 range depending on horsepower and labor rates. The legal case did not result in the settlement the plaintiffs sought. The class action filed in 2013 was eventually dismissed by the court on procedural grounds that did not address the underlying defect claim. Reich and Binstock prepared to refile the case with modified pleadings. A separate effort surfaced through the Boat U.S. Consumer Protection Bureau, which negotiated a case-by-case review program with Yamaha in 2013. Under that program, Yamaha agreed to evaluate individual complaints from Boat U.S. members and provide assistance on a discretionary basis. The discretionary nature of the assistance meant owners had no guarantee of repair coverage, no formal acknowledgement of the defect, and no enforceable agreement on what Yamaha would pay. The Boat U.S. program processed hundreds of complaints between 2013 and 2015. The outcomes varied widely. Some owners received full parts coverage and partial labor reimbursement. Others received parts discounts only. A significant percentage received no assistance at all, which Yamaha justified case by case, citing factors like maintenance records, hours of use, and water type exposure. The pattern of variable outcomes left a large population of affected owners without a clear remedy. The absence of a formal recall meant that owners purchasing affected engines on the used market had no way to know the engine carried the defect until it failed. Yamaha's legal position throughout the litigation rested on a specific argument. The company maintained that the corrosion was a maintenance issue rather than a manufacturing defect, citing factors like saltwater exposure, infrequent flushing, and storage conditions as contributing causes. The plaintiffs countered with internal engineering evidence showing that Yamaha had identified the coating problem internally, switched suppliers around 2005, and quietly engineered subsequent F-Series models to use a different coating chemistry that resolved the corrosion issue. The contradiction between the legal position and the engineering record was central to the plaintiff's case, but the procedural dismissal prevented the dispute from reaching a public verdict. Yamaha's public communication about the F-Series defect has been remarkably consistent over 2 decades. The company has never issued a recall on the affected engines, never published a technical service bulletin acknowledging the defect, and never sent notification letters to registered owners advising them of the corrosion risk. The standard marketing language describing the F-Series engines during the affected production years emphasized power, reliability, and durability without qualification. That language remained in place through the entire period when the corrosion was being discovered in customer hands. The internal repair kit Yamaha eventually produced for dealers tells a different story. The kit was made available to authorized Yamaha service centers starting around 2006 with the part numbers and procedures necessary to replace the corroded exhaust passages and oil pumps. The kit cost was approximately $1,500 at introduction and dropped to $700 by 2013 as more dealers stocked the parts. The kit itself constitutes engineering acknowledgement that the defect exists and that Yamaha knows how to fix it. The absence of a public recall means the kit is only available to owners who happen to bring the boat to a dealer before catastrophic failure. And even then, the cost falls on the owner unless the engine is still under the original 3-year warranty. The Yamaha Extended Warranty Program offers some protection, but with significant limitations. The Yamaha Extended Service Plan, marketed as YES, adds up to 3 years to the standard 3-year warranty for a total of 6 years of coverage. The catch is that YES Extended Warranty has to be purchased while the original warranty is still active, and the cost typically runs into the thousands of dollars per engine. An owner who purchases a used F225 in 2026 has no path to extended warranty coverage from Yamaha because the original warranty has long expired, and the extended coverage cannot be initiated on engines outside the original warranty period. The corrosion defect has now passed into the used market entirely. Owners who buy a 2000 to 2005 F225 on the secondary market in 2026 are buying an engine that Yamaha has never publicly acknowledged contains the defect, that has no factory recall coverage, that cannot be enrolled in extended warranty protection, and that may require thousands of dollars in repairs at any moment without the corrosion being externally visible. The pre-purchase inspection process for these used engines is the only remaining buyer protection. And many marine surveyors still are not specifically checking for the dry exhaust corrosion unless the buyer requests it explicitly. The defect that started in 2000 has not disappeared from the marine industry. Owner reports of dry exhaust corrosion on first-generation F-Series engines continue to appear in marine forums and dealer service queues through 2025 and into 2026. A November 2024 owner report described a 2014 F-150 with under 1,000 hours requiring a $15,000 repair on what the dealer identified as the same family of exhaust corrosion defect. The owner reported having multiple friends whose F-150 engines had failed with the same problem. By February 2025, similar reports had emerged from owners of 2004 model year engines with hour counts as low as 425. The problem persists in the used market, specifically because Yamaha never recalled the affected engines and never required ownership transfer disclosure. A separate Yamaha recall in 2023 affects newer engines but for a different problem. The 2021 and 2022 program year VF200LB, VF200XB, VF225LB, VF250LB, and VF250XB models carry an ECU software defect that can energize the ignition coils with the main switch turned on. The defect creates a fire risk if the energized ignition spark ignites unburned fuel inside the combustion chamber. Some of the affected models can be energized even by the power trim and tilt switch, with the main switch in the off position. Yamaha initiated a factory modification campaign requiring an ECU software update and a new program version identification sticker on every affected engine. The 2023 recall is unrelated to the corrosion defect, but it signals that Yamaha continues to ship engines with manufacturing issues that only get addressed after a critical number of failures appear in customer hands. The lifespan that Yamaha publishes for current F-Series engines is 1,500 to 4,000 hours under proper maintenance conditions. Independent marine technicians have privately reported that the lower end of that range is more accurate for engines run in saltwater environments without aggressive flushing protocols. A Yamaha F250 purchased new in 2024 for $33,000 may reach end of service life as early as 2034, even before any defects emerge. The depreciation curve on the new engines is steep enough that the owner who finances a $30,000 outboard for 60 months is still paying off the loan when major service intervention typically becomes necessary. The path forward for current and prospective Yamaha F-Series owners runs through specific actions Yamaha has never recommended publicly. The first action is the pre-purchase inspection. Any used Yamaha F-Series engine from 2000 through 2007 should be inspected by a marine technician using a borescope to examine the internal dry exhaust passages before purchase. The inspection takes approximately 1 hour and costs in the range of $200. That cost is trivial compared to the repair bill that follows a missed corrosion finding. The second action is the maintenance schedule. Affected engines that are still running can have their service life extended significantly with aggressive freshwater flushing after every saltwater use, regular oil pump replacement on a preventive schedule, and proactive replacement of the dry exhaust components before catastrophic failure. The corrosion progresses faster in saltwater environments and with infrequent flushing, which means owners in freshwater applications often have more remaining service life than the hour count alone would suggest. The third action is the ownership decision. An owner who has been told by the Yamaha dealer that the exhaust corrosion is starting to develop has approximately 100 to 200 hours of remaining engine life before complete failure. That window is enough time to either fund the repair or arrange a sale to a buyer who knows what they're looking at and prices the engine accordingly. Hiding the defect from a buyer creates legal exposure that exceeds the value of the engine itself in most cases. The deeper lesson from the F-Series story extends beyond Yamaha specifically. The pattern of quietly fixing latent engineering defects on subsequent production runs while declining to acknowledge the problem on engines already in customer hands has been used by every major outboard manufacturer at some point in the past 30 years. The lesson for boat owners is that the burden of identifying manufacturing defects in marine engines falls almost entirely on the buyer, the mechanic, and the marine surveyor. The manufacturer's public communications about reliability and durability tell only part of the story. The F-Series corrosion defect is 25 years old. The class action lawsuit filed 12 years ago. The repair kit has been available to dealers for over 15 years. Owners are still discovering the problem in 2006. The story has not ended because Yamaha has never officially closed it. Every prospective buyer of a used 2000 to 2005 Yamaha F225 or 250 needs to know what to look for before signing the paperwork. And every current owner of an affected engine needs to know that the failure clock is running on a defect the manufacturer has spent 2 decades declining to publicly